Good morning. Thank you to Dr. Johnson for your beautiful prelude. I am Taylor Mills, class of 26, theater and performance major, dance minor from Smyrna, Georgia. Welcome everyone to this special fireside chat. Today, you will participate in a very exciting and insightful conversation between two powerhouses. Caroline Wanga, President and CEO of Essence Ventures, and our very own 11th President of Spelman College, Dr. Helene D. Gayle. While you are listening to these dynamic women, please take notes and develop your questions for the question and answer period. I will not keep you any longer from this conversation. Please place your attention on the screen as we watch the introduction of our guest. Ms. Wanga is such a powerful force that her intro needs no words. Don't be alarmed, as the video intro is silent. Thank you and enjoy.
Elm. Good morning.
Good morning.
I had to come out front for a minute so I could see the video, so I could make sure I knew what had been shown before we started. But it's really wonderful, and it's wonderful to look out and see so many of you. I want to give a special shout out to those who are coming from Westlake. And we've got the Women of Westlake program in the Belgrade Westlake High School. So wonderful to have the young women here. I think you just went on a tour of the school. So hopefully lots of you will be applying to Spelman.
She wasn't playing.
So this is wonderful. And as always, for these fireside chat, I'm going to engage a little bit here with Caroline, and then I'm going to open up the floor. We've got the mics, and I know there'll be lots of interesting questions from our students and other guests. So let me just start by saying, to give us a little bit of a flavor for who you are, your background. So who is Caroline Wanga?
That is such a good question, Madam President, but I would be remiss if I didn't thank you, the Spelman community, the Spelman ecosystem, the Spelman family for the invitation to come to your hallowed grounds. I didn't go to Spelman, but I did go to a HBCU and a UNCF school, but I don't care what school you went to, you understand what people feel about Spelman. The pride, the legacy, the intentionality of this institution and what it's done with Black women, who we at Essence consider to be the CEOs of home, culture, and community, is admirable. And I'm so honored to be able to spend some time with you guys today. So I had to make sure that I said that.
And by the way, I just want to say also, I've been looking forward to this conversation. We had a chance to have a little bit of a pre-conversation in preparation. I was like, oh my goodness, this woman has so much to say to our students and our community. So anyway.
And she's afflicted with intellectual flatulence, if you didn't see it on them. So I'll try to do. So here's the thing I think is most important to know. When you ask me who am I, my name is Caroline. I'm a Kenyan girl. I was born in Kenya. Was born into a space where what I look like had nothing to do with whether or not I could be successful. The barriers were others, right? And had the opportunity to come to the US in junior high, which is just the gauntlet of life, and everybody should just get a prize for making it through, because we ruthless in junior high, y'all. And in Minnesota, that's a topic for a therapy session. And so did my high school years there, had decided I wanted to be a police officer. I don't know why, I can't remember. And an Olympic heptathlete. It didn't always look like this. It used to look more like an Olympic athlete. And got pregnant my first semester in college. Yeah, right. Plot twist. And as you can imagine, being a child of an immigrant who brought their children here for a better life, being an Olympic hopeful, I dubbed myself. The Olympics hadn't said that yet, but I saw the vision. On a track scholarship, how disruptive that was to what I had as plans. But when I decided to be a mother, that's what I became, was Cadence's mom. And so left college, worked in nonprofit for 7 years, ended up finding out about a program at Texas College, the HBCU that I went to, that helped accommodate single parents. And that's how I ended up there. But the moment that I got pregnant permeated my spirit for 20 years. Mentally, I stayed 17 years old, because it was such a loud failure moment. It started the beginning of people renegotiating my potential without my permission. It began the day where I would spend each day trying to not be seen. That's what would define the success of a day. If nobody spoke to me, if nobody saw me, it was a good day. Because anytime I was seen, I was either reminded of how I failed. Now, where was the father? Listen, lady, I ain't got time. Where's your daddy? I don't know, right? But the way that those questions were presented was not altruistic. It was trying to figure out how to create a judgment, right? And you can tell when people's intents are not good, right? So how long were you guys together? Were you married? Like, none of your business. But because I wasn't mature enough to understand that at 17, all of those things brought pain. And the only way I knew how to manage it was to be small and go unnoticed. So even though I was motivated financially and otherwise to never have my daughter become a statistic, like, that's what fueled me. It wasn't growth and aspiration and dreams. It was, nobody will be able to say that I didn't raise a good global citizen, because all of y'all think I'm going to be a statistic. I was motivated by anger and rebellion, which is not the way to go about life, but it just was. And so I couldn't see what I had achieved, because I was still 17 years old, wondering if this girl I went to high school with had a better job than me and checking it every day. I was still trying to get the cousin who wasn't allowed to speak to me when I got pregnant, as if it's contagious, to say hi. So I was at a development conference when I realized that. And what the facilitator there gave me an opportunity to do was to rethink how I catch my psychological and chronological age up, and gave me permission to celebrate psychological birthdays, so that when I accomplished things, I could try to catch up. So when my daughter graduated from NYU with a degree in engineering, I turned 18, right? She's 27 now, and I wish she would just go be an adult, but she's ordering things like Cinnamon Toast Crunch to my house at this very moment. And she doesn't live there. But that moment at 36 years old, and I'm only 45 now, but that moment at 36 years old started my life. And I know that sounds counterintuitive to you. I had a life that stopped at 17 and restarted at 36. When I was sitting at home and had no idea who I was. My daughter's graduated. I dumped him after 10 years. And for the first time in my life, I was living alone. And I had no idea how to do it because I didn't know who I was. I didn't have hobbies. I didn't have friends. I didn't have volleyball tournaments. So the journey was to relearn Caroline. Things like what you saw on this slide were part of those things, trying to define who I am. But what I became passionate about in that journey was I used to sit and listen to women do what I'm doing, and they would tell these great stories of their accomplishments, and nothing went wrong in their story. And I just wanted to go to the chapel for the people that had already failed 7 times that day. That's the chapel I needed to go to. And so I started to not believe that I could be successful because their stories didn't have mistakes, and I'm particularly good at mistakes. But over time, what I committed is to just never be that person. That I would, if I had the opportunity to do what I'm doing with you today, that I would tell you the story the way it happened so that you saw what happens in your life, Steve, being on your path to success. And so I was at Target. I worked at Target for 15 years. Yes, Target, that one. Headquartered in Minnesota and had made it to the C-suite. 50 company, 400,000 employees, $100 billion a year. And here I am checking if old girl has the same job as me. And then I was given the opportunity to come to Essence. And I was scared and thought they had dialed the wrong number. There was nothing about what I had done that qualified me to lead a media organization. And so I wrestled with it. Fast forward, the reason I was asked to take the job was because of how I was living my life, not how I was qualified. And that's what I need y'all to remember. My technical qualifications were not what were needed in the job at the time. That's what a lot of the people there were supposed to do. The way that I was living my life was necessary in the moment for what this brand needed. So me coming to Essence was not going to a new job. It was paying recompense to the women, the men, the communities that had done what Essence represented for 50 years. And the only reason I didn't say no was because I was not going to let Essence go away on my watch. I wasn't gonna be able to sit at home if something happened to it and I was supposed to go, and I said no because it was uncomfortable. So I took the job in June 2020. And here we sit on the campus of Spelman College with me telling you the story about how beautifully you will succeed even if you fail.
So failure, let's talk about that. And
Yeah.
you have said a lot about what failure means to you and why it is so important.
Mhm.
So say a bit more about failure.
Yes.
Your what is it? You got to fail 5 times a
Yes,
day.
and all the type A's just had a stomach ache. You're fine.
Talk about failure and what that means.
Yeah, so here's the thing, right? I think the part of the reason why I tell the story the way I do is because I have one failure in my life in particular that dominated my life for 2 decades, having my daughter. Most of you have been taught that failure is something you avoid. You might encounter it. If you do, please fix it and cover it up before anybody finds out. And never put it on your resume. Don't talk to people about it. Hope they don't know. Wait till it's forgotten and let it go. I'm sorry, you're gonna fail at that. You are. You're setting yourself up if you believe that you will be able to control the way failure shows up in your life. And that the way to address it is to pick up this rug and sweep it under there and hope nobody trips over the bump of your failure under this rug. That's a really difficult way to live because you will live in constant fear of somebody discovering you failed. That's anxiety, that's stress, that's diabetes, that's stroke. The reality is failure is inevitable, no matter how good you are. There's nobody who's good at not failing. They're good at covering it up. So instead of trying to live a life where I'm trying to find how many different places under a rug can I tuck this fail and it's only 7:08 in the morning, what is the way that I want to change my relationship with failure so that the capacity that used to be consumed with people finding out that I had failed, finding out that I was a single mom, finding out that I didn't take a traditional path, finding out that I don't have a media background, finding out that I cuss because it helps me. And it's not to offend people, but there's other bad decisions I'll make if I can't cuss. So cussing is the better option. And I just own it. And if you don't like it, just don't be my friend. But I had to figure something else out. And so what I developed was a mechanism for myself that changed the relationship so that the capacity that I was taking up trying to cover up failure could be used towards my purpose in the world. So I established a threshold for it. And I decided that I don't get to declare something a bad day unless I fail 5 times, actually 6 times, because 5 is still within my bank. So I give myself 5 fails a day. All of you type A's are like, ooh, that's too many. No, it ain't, but you can pick 3 if it makes you feel better. The point is build a threshold. And here's what that threshold does for you. If your bank for failure is 5 for the day, then whatever happened at 7:08 that morning, it doesn't mean I don't get mad and cuss and get mad. It's just that I don't stay there. So if I have a fail at 7:08 and work through whatever my feelings may be, the thing that comes at 8:07, I can give my full attention to because I didn't let the failure at 7:08 change the whole day. And then the one that comes at 9 o'clock still gets my attention, even though I don't like that that's 2, but I know I still got 3 left. So I take it. And then 3, and I'm like, is it noon yet? Because this might be a 6 fail day. Right? I start to think about it. And then about 2 p.m., we hit 4. And I'm like, either we got to end the day or make some different choices today. And even if I hit 5, until I hit the 6th fail, I don't get to attribute it as a bad day. Why does that matter? 2 reasons, both accidental. The first one is what that activity does for you is significantly lessen the number of bad days in your life. 6 failed days happen. I had a horrible 6 failed day while I was supposed to be interviewing Oprah at this year's festival. It was like an 82 failed day. So the bad days will happen. They're just much less frequent. And because you have built this threshold and muscle around failure, even when they hit, you'll know what to do when it's a bad day, and you'll just do that, but you know you have a new bank the next day. So even if it's a 6 failed day, you aren't mad the next day. You got a new bank of 5. So that's the first thing it does for you, right? It gives you the opportunity to have bad days less, which means in your work, in your relationship, you and your garden and Netflix, you're able to give the right appropriate energy without having the failures of the day consume it because it was a bad day. The second thing that was really accidental is I became best in class at bouncing back. Because I knew I had more in the bank, I didn't ruminate for as long. So it might be 7:08 that I failed. And after I threw something at the wall at 7:10, I'm like, okay, come on, day. And then the next one and the next one. Why does that matter? Because the people next to me who stayed stuck in their first failure lost the race from me by inches. Because every time I got up a few seconds faster than them, I moved ahead of them. I made up a word, failure recoverist. So what I developed by having a threshold for it and not allowing to ruminate on each one and letting only 6 fails make a bad day is I started to win in inches. And over time, people are like, how is this girl getting ahead? I only was mad for 2 minutes. You were mad for 2 days. Your fault. You see the point? So if you can change your relationship with failure, build a threshold for it that's comfortable. Don't pick one that's too low and impossible, perfectionist. If you pick one, it defeats the exercise. But also don't pick a million. Whatever your threshold is, you get that bank every morning. Whatever goes wrong, you get to decide the failure and put it in the bank. You only get to say it's a bad day when it's 6, and you'll know what to do because it'll be less frequent. And then you become a failure recoverist, and that becomes your competitive advantage in everything you do in the world. And then you'll be the one sitting up here with people out there trying to figure out how you made it through life. Change your relationship with failure.
Well, thank you for that. And I think it's great for this audience of young women who, many of whom are perfectionists, type A.
Raise your hand if that's you.
Yeah.
I love y'all. I don't understand you, but I love you.
So I think this, and it's what we talk about, resilience. And at the end of the day, it's about You know, how quick can you bounce back and how resilient can you be? But I think the failure threshold gives a real practical way of thinking about it. You know, another thing we talked about was authenticity and what that means to you and being your authentic self, finding your purpose. Could you say a little bit about that as one of your personal philosophies?
Yeah. So, you know, this word called authenticity is misused, right? There's a spectrum of definitions for it. Everybody making money trying to be an authenticity consultant. No shade. And the reality is my journey to authenticity. So those slides that I showed you, there's stuff in there that's funny. I think I'm funny. I don't ask anybody else if they think I'm funny, but I do. You see stuff in there that maybe you were told you can't discuss at work, that I deal with depression and diabetes, right? You saw stuff in there that might have surprised you, that I'm an introvert. You saw stuff in there that you think I should be embarrassed of, like I'm a Kenyan who can't run a marathon. You saw all that. And there's nothing about that list that anybody in this room can say that after you watch that, we don't have one thing in common. You found one thing we had in common based on that. That was developed one day when I didn't want to tell the interns to come work at Target because I just thought that it was too canned of a speech. So I tried to give them something different. And I wrote those words down and threw them on the ground. What does that have to do with authenticity? The principle behind it was who you are is who you are. If you cannot be who you are where you are, you change where you are, not who you are. And that's not what we're taught. We're taught to manage the who because the where is more important. So when I talk about authenticity, it's a fundamental belief in two things. Number one, I believe every single person on this earth was born with a purpose. Whether you believe it, I don't care. You have one. You ought to live in indignant pursuit of fulfilling it because it is your obligation to the world. Nobody can do it but you. So if you don't do it, then whatever is the thing you were supposed to bring forth in the world doesn't get. Sleep on that tonight. And it has nothing to do with whether or not it's comfortable for you or you want to. It's a have to or don't. And so the first part of authenticity is, what is your purpose in the world? Do you know? If you don't, figure it out. Really easy exercise to get started. Ask 5 people in your life. And I'm going to tell you what kind of 5 people to do. And don't cheat on this exercise. One person you know hates you. Don't act like you don't know who hates you. You know them. One person who has some sort of intimate relationship with you, a spouse, a partner. One person that is your parent, either figuratively or literally. One person that is a friend. And then one person who always tells you things are great even when you're horrible. That's your freebie. Your grandma, I'm so happy that you failed. You know, that person. And I want you to ask those 5 people, and one can be a work colleague. I want you to ask those 5 people 2 questions. The first question I want you to ask them is, what is the thing that when you want to do it, you will not do it until you find me because I'm the best person in your life at it? Even if you have an idea, you're like, I'm not doing nothing until I can find Caroline because she's the best person in my life at that thing. Then I want you to ask them the other question with just as much enjoyment as the first one. What is the thing if we were the last 2 people on earth and death was imminent, you still wouldn't ask for my help because I'm that bad at it? That's the one people don't ever want to ask the question right. Why do I say that's where you can get started if you don't know your purpose? Because what will permeate out of those 2 questions if you don't cheat? You will see a common thread across people that know you differently on what surfaces as a natural gift and what surfaces as not natural, not gift that you need to quit trying to be good at and just mitigate the risk of. It'll get you started and then pursue the path of the things that people tell you they will find you to do and mitigate the risk of the thing that people tell you, I'd rather die than ask you. Because what that shifts in your life is you end up spending 90% of your time pursuing what you're good at and not what you're not good at. And what will happen as you manifest that is the universe affirms that which is right. So you will start to run into paths and moments and connections and relationships that further your service. I had no desire to work at Essence. I am not qualified technically to work at Essence. If I would have been asked, well, first, I wouldn't have been asked to come to Essence 3 years before because I wasn't living authentically. The minute I started living authentically, the Essence opportunity came into my life. Do you get my point on purpose? You start to pursue that thing they say that you are the best at, that no matter whether they hate you, love you, or your grandma, your sibling, your spouse, your whatever, everybody says you're good at it. That's your first clue. Go chase that. And then just have the other thing be something like, so here's mine. I'm organic, not organized. So I don't pretend I'm organized. I hire you organized people that I don't understand. However, don't let the smooth taste fool you. I'm informal, not incompetent. Right? So when I say I got to work on being organized, it doesn't mean I'm going to try to be organized. I will be a D+ for life. Proud of it. But Steph Donovan is organized and she's an A. So why am I trying? Steph, come on, get this done so I don't hurt myself. So pursue your purpose in the world because it is the slot that you are to fulfill on behalf of the world. What is the second thing tied to authenticity? Forever adjust your where. Find the where your who is best. That is not a statement just about workplace. That's mental state, physical state. Could be a physical place. It could be a relationship. It could be a school. But if you pursue the purpose you were born to do in the world indignantly, it'll find you and you'll deliver. And you will be so scared about how good you'll deliver because you'll be on the toilet and think of something and then you'll say it in a meeting and people will be like, that's brilliant. And you'll be like, you know that happened on the toilet? And you will be blown away by how things that are really easy for you click for people. Why? You're functioning in your purpose. There's nothing wrong. Stop doubting it. If it is that easy and people are blown away, you are doing what you were born to do. It's supposed to be easy for you, boo. And it's not supposed to be easy for the person standing next to you. That's why they're jealous and coming for you. You want to talk about it? But if you do that, then you start to accelerate the achievements, not because you want success, but because the world starts to consume the reason you were born. And at that point, even when you don't want to, you get up every morning. Caroline with depression does not want to get up every morning and motivate Black girls. No, not every day. But guess what? I'm afraid that the day that I don't, one Black girl takes her life. And I can't have that on my conscience. Mm-hmm. So if I got to crawl to the thing I got to do that day, for you, I will. And that's what I mean by purpose. So please, authenticity is not about just being real. Authenticity is about living in indignant pursuit of your purpose for those that need it from you, despite what's comfortable for you. It'll be affirmed because you will start to see things that are really easy for you, accelerate your career, accelerate your dream, accelerate the way that you live. You're going to find that boo you've been looking for and be like, there's got to be a trick here because there's no way that this good for me. That's purpose. Because you'll start to attract the people who can go on the journey with you. And then what you will step into is this unmitigated gall to believe in a future that other people can't see. You'll welcome them when they get there. Nobody needs to co-sign on your purpose, boo. It's already set. And when they arrive, you welcome them. But until then, you do what you're supposed to do to change the world.
What? No, I think that's fabulous. And, you know, one of the things that we hope that we're able to do here at Spelman is to give our students, our sisters, the space to figure out where is your authenticity and your purpose so that you can be whoever you were meant to be. So yes. Thank you for that.
What do you guys say? The choice to change the world?
Choice to change
Y'all know what that phrase means? Show me. Show me.
They will.
Not shade.
They will. So let's talk about essence.
Yes.
Because, you know, this is where you are. And as you said, they came to you at a time when it was the right thing for you to do. Mm-hmm. Essence has an incredible history, 53 years now.
Yep, I've been there. Yep. COVID timing, June 2020. Yep.
Right. So talk about why Essence and why was that so the right thing for you? But in the context of Essence 50 plus years and what it has contributed to Black women.
Yeah.
And what does it mean for Black women today?
Yeah.
which is different than obviously when it
Absolutely.
started.
Absolutely. So the portfolio that I lead is Essence Ventures, which has within it Essence Communications that you guys know, Magazine Festival, those sorts of things. It has Afropunk, it has BeautyCon, and it has Essence Studios. The Essence component, which Essence is 50 years old. You know how Black people do age. 50 years. Essence was founded to get Black women to see themselves in what they were supposed to be, not what they were being looked at as. If you have not seen the Time of Essence documentary that we released in September, it's 5 episodes for each decade of Essence. It's streaming on OWN and Max. Please go watch that, because what it'll show you is it's juxtaposed against each decade of Essence. Stephanie's one of the executive producers. I keep picking on her. She got her red shoes on there. She over there. But each episode is tied to a decade, but they juxtaposed it with what was happening in society at the time. So when Reagan was bashing Black women, what did Essence do to tell people to tell them they're great, that sort of thing? So please watch it. But for 50 years, it's been illuminating what's possible for the Black woman, inspiring the Black woman. Essence did its job. Because now what's true, you can argue with me if you want to, but Beyonce single-handedly changed the GDP. They are the CEOs of home, culture, and community. Not Black home, culture, and community. Black women are the CEOs of home, culture, and community. You would buy a tissue Beyonce sneezed on for $1 million, even though it's mucus. That's power. So the point that Essence has gotten the Black female community to is this place where now this is your seat, Madam CEO. You're no longer trying to get to that seat. It has been accomplished for you. The legacy of Essence now, and we joke around because there was 5 episodes of Time of Essence. We talk about you are living the 6th episode. You are currently the 6th episode because it ends at June 2020. And so what we say about where Essence is, this is now your chair, Madam CEO. And you are just as powerful as the white male CEOs of the biggest people in the world, the biggest companies in the world. If you don't believe it, ask a friend. Therefore, you need to activate your agency as CEO of home, culture, and community. And instead of us being told what culture is, we now define it and spotlight how we're impacting it. Instead of having equity being about being equal, equity is about ownership. Instead of saying celebration is just about a good time and a festival, now we're celebrating the accomplishments you are delivering in the world. And so with those 3 things being true about where Essence is now and what the 6th episode has as a guiding light, my time here and why I came for the time that I am due to be the steward of this brand is to ensure that at the point that I depart, whenever the universe sees fit, that the chair that has been got for you, that has been on this stage and has been waiting for you to sit in it, that you will come and sit in it with the agency and power you have already been given by the women that came before you. And you will be too afraid to sit in that chair and get comfortable because you know there's somebody outside waiting for their seat. Therefore, you will be motivated to make your change in the world and go build the next throne so the CEO after you can get to this throne. You will become a living succession plan. And so Essence's role in the 6th episode is to equip you with the information, with the truth, with the access, with the inspiration, with the joy, with the protection, with the guidance, with the guardianship of the seat that belongs to you. And if you don't sit in it, then the 50 years of people that work to put that seat there for you and the 50 people standing behind you waiting for their seat are held up because you was too scared that morning, because you were worried about self-preservation. The Native American principle, there's a Native American principle about 7 generations. Yes, it's the 7th generation products you buy. They pilfered it though. And it talks about any change you make, any action you take should be right for the 7th generation. So there's a 7th generation of Black girls that will sit in these pews and listen to you when you're here. But if they're listening to you when you're here, then you got to get up so they can get here. So where are you going? And so for me, my time here is about cultivating the path of moving seats so that we can have the CEOs of home, culture, and community functioning in their agency as CEOs of global home, culture, and community. And the world will be better because we're leading from that place.
Thank you. I'm going to ask people to start coming to the mic if you have questions. And let me ask one or two more as people are coming to the mic. You've said a lot about kind of self-compassion and self-care and how important that is and how that figures into your own sense of what you need to do and part of your success. Could you talk about that a little bit?
I'm happy to, and I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the beautiful people at Essence and Essence Ventures that helped bring this forward. Can you guys just raise your hands? And my guests and all of them. These are some of the people. They have 32 cousins at the house, but they came to represent. We're doing some events here over the course of this week, and so I work for them.
So I was gonna acknowledge them, but I
my bad.
No, that's all right. I was also gonna acknowledge the fact that we have Spelman alum.
Everybody stand
up. We have
I love it.
Staff who have had
What is
parents?
that metallic dress? We need to talk about whatever you're wearing later. Yeah, that situation needs.
Yeah. Also, well, since you stood up, Nani Edwards, who girl story, who is going to have a first ever Nike Spelman shoe that she created, and it will be in the bookstore the 2nd of December. So everybody line up and get yours. I wish I had mine on today, but anyway, they're beautiful.
I'll have mine on at Saturday at Girls United that Essence is hosting here in Atlanta. But it's dope.
Yeah.
Y'all better stay up, drink your Red. There's a shoe. Y'all better stay up and drink your Red Bull. It's limited number. And no, you don't know nobody you could call when they're gone. They're gone. The factory closed. Let's talk about self-compassion, because I think you guys saw I live with depression. I do. You'll see it if you spend time with me. It's a disease. I have to manage it, right? Diabetes is my own fault, but depression happened through other things. I was in a job at Target, at the highest levels of this company, doing work that everybody's quiet when you're good and only speaks up when you're bad. And then I have to influence without authority. So I'm making people do things that their boss will tell them you don't have to do. Welcome to that job. As much as I was passionate about what I was driving, I was not paying attention to how I needed to take care of myself from the hits I took. I would just take them. Y'all know this. Black women are really good at this. Punched. Let me put some ice on this so I can go finish this job, even though your eye is bleeding. I was ignoring the symptoms. I was driving home one day from work. It wasn't a particularly bad day. I'm crying to the point where I think I'm gonna crash because I can't see. You know, the snot, the disrespectful cry. And so I couldn't stop myself. I pulled over, I called somebody who worked at Target and told them I thought I was going crazy. Please take me to the psych ward. She didn't do that, but she did help me go out on leave. While on leave, I found out about situational depression. I found out how it works. I found out how I was so angry during that time that I was psychologically paralyzed. I'm like, I have feet. Why can't I get out of this bed? Why can't I go outside? There's nothing wrong. I was angry. And so as I learned more about it in that 30 days in a semi-institutional environment, I was still angry with it, but I came out with tools on how to live with it. And one of the things that I came out of that program with is what I call my self-compassion plan. And my self-compassion plan is things that I can put in place to manage the triggers for my depression. And the point of it was not just to write things down. It was to write things down and give it away to the people that spend time with you so they can love you more than you can love yourself. Because if you could do it on your own, you'd have been done it. And so I wrote down things like, I don't do happy hours because my social battery drains really fast. And so if there's a reception, a dinner, and an after party, I'll be at the dinner. So-and-so wants to see you at the reception, have them catch me at the dinner. So-and-so wants to see you at the after party, will they be at the dinner? Because I now know how my social battery plays out into how I manage myself. It's things like 15-minute breaks 3 times a day so that cortisol can do its job in reducing my stress, so my stress isn't doing this and eventually starting to shut down other parts of my body and leading to things like differences in serotonin and other things that create other unhealthiness and insulin and all that good stuff. So it is this, it's probably what you guys would consider to be embarrassing. Your mama might say that's family business. Why are you putting it out there? But what makes the self-compassion plan work is whenever I start a new job, have a new direct report, new team, I give it to them, my peers, my boss, my admin. And I say, I need you to disrespectfully hold me accountable to these. I will kill myself if you don't. Not I'm going to kill myself. It's I almost kill myself by not doing those things. And I need you to come in and turn the lights off or cancel that meeting on my calendar or tell me I look like I've been crying. Or yesterday, let me be late, Steph. Let me not record the holiday special yesterday because I had a really hard day yesterday. And so you let me fly in late last night so that I could get together. And you let me record my part on Saturday. The self-compassion plan gets somebody like Steph, who was producing a whole show yesterday that I was supposed to show up at and record my part. And when I got up yesterday morning, I just couldn't. And I texted asking if I could make the adjustments. And Steph said, sure, Caroline, you can tape it on Saturday so I could have more time to get myself together so I could show up for the Spelman women in the way that I needed to. That's love that loves you more than you love yourself. But you have to be willing. You have to be willing to give the people in your life that kind of agency, and you have to document the things that are just important for you to stay healthy. And then you have to give them permission to do it even when you don't want to, so that they can save your life. And my self-compassion plan is what has saved my life since that day. And I will never in my life again be embarrassed to tell people about what I need to stay healthy, that I don't know what to do on my own, and be worried that they're going to judge me that I keep coloring books in my office, because that's how I can detach for 15 minutes to give cortisol an opportunity. I never again will be embarrassed about the judgment, because if they are going to judge me, then they're not the right person to have the self-compassion plan. But for the people that do, they save my life on a daily basis. And I'm so grateful that the exercise was produced, but I'm more grateful for the people who hold that document in its power and its love and help me stay alive. Self-compassion is yours to design. You're probably not good at it for yourself. So write down what helps you feel healthy and then give other people permission to love you more than you love yourself. It'll save your life and fuel your purpose.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. We'll take first question.
If you want it, I can email it to you guys. It's not that complicated. It's just typed in Word.
And we're
Listen, yes, I hear you, sis. I'll get it to you. Stat.
And because our time is short, we're going to ask people to make very short, to the point questions.
It's on.
Yeah, that's you.
Hi, I'm Letitia Jones. So I'm also a student entrepreneur. I just want to say thank you for being you and showing your vulnerability today. It really helped me. As a person that's dealt with many failures, failed some classes, failed in business in ways that I felt like I had to hide. I had to run from what makes me who I am. So thank you for showing up and inspiring and doing what you do, because today I see so much of myself in you. I'm sorry.
No apologies needed. Take your time. Let it flow. Let it out. Somebody hug her, please. Take care of your sister. Take your time. Take your time.
As someone that has failed many times, it's just been great and inspiring. So like to see myself and learning from my failures and shifting how I view them as ways to enable me to make change and be a boss, be a CEO that I want to be. So thank you.
You are
Thank
more
you.
than welcome.
Thank you.
You are
Thank
more
you.
than welcome. And I can't wait for you to be here, because what's going to happen when you get here is you're going to see a you there, and you will understand why those tears were flowing now. because of what they're supposed to do in the future. I believe in you. I do. Let them flow. Get them out because they're going to be disrespectful and come out at the wrong moment.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Again, I want to mirror those sentiments and say thank you for this incredible opportunity. My name is Autumn Adegbo. I'm a Spelman graduate. I was actually just featured. First of all, I'm going to say some of my accomplishments, not because I have a big head.
Talk your talk.
My whole life, Jay-Z said that to me in February. I pitched him at a restaurant.
He probably wrote it, but
he said that and dapped me up. But I'm going to say my accomplishments, not because I have a big head, but because my whole life I felt like I wasn't worth anything. And so I had to work my way up to feel
I
like
understand.
I was worth something. The first time I said I'm a fashion designer. The first time I sent anything down the runway was at the Spelman Morehouse fashion show, which I was the assistant fashion director of. In 2012, I was named on Essence Next List for fashion. And then in June 2020, I became the first Black woman to raise $1 million for a fashion brand in history. So talk about changing the world. We have 30 investors, 99% of them are women, including Cameron Diaz and Gabrielle Union. And we represented Spelman in the September issue when we did Fashioning an HBCU Legacy, written by Lee Faye Cooper, who's another Black.
there's Nandi, our content director right there, runs all things editorial for Essence. So she does those stories.
So we were growing at a 2x4x rate. Tons of celebrities wearing our stuff. I don't know if you guys saw Britney Spears doing her knife video in the white top.
I mean, I catch Britney every once in a while. I don't follow her, bless her heart.
That's my top she's wearing. But in June 2020, after we were growing 2 to 4x a year, an investor approached me, said she wanted to lead my next round of capital, distracted me, a non-Black investor, distracted my team for a year, drug out a deal that should have taken 3 years to over a year. And when I had millions of dollars in my bank account a year before my business bank account, she drugged the deal out until I had 2 weeks left of cash in my bank account. And then she wouldn't give me the money in June 2022. I thought I was going to lose my entire life work. I started sketching when I was here at Spelman 20 years ago. I had to figure out how I was going to stay in business, and I had extreme post-traumatic stress disorder. I looked around me, I didn't trust anyone around me. I was able to keep my business going 4 months later. And for the first time since June, I had 3 months worth of cash in my bank account. And now I'm starting to pitch investors. I guess my question is, do I tell the investors that I'm pitching about this failure, about how I almost went out of business after being at the top of my career in this past June, or do I tell a different story?
I'm going to answer your question with a question. And then there's a ton of folks here from Essence, and I want to make sure one of them connects you to our New Voices family. That is our entrepreneurial teaching community that has over 28,000 Black-owned businesses in it that are there just to advise on the technical level, right? So I'll make sure that you get that so you can actually ask that question of a number of different people and decide. But here's the Caroline question to you. You're asking if you should tell them. Are you scared that they're going to find out? If you don't tell them, are you afraid they'll find out if you don't tell them? It's only a yes or a no.
No.
You're not afraid if they find out about what was going on with your money situation. If you don't tell them, you're not afraid.
No.
Okay. Then decide if you want to tell them. Does it make sense what I just said? If you're not afraid if they find out on their own, decide if it's worth it to tell them. If you are afraid they'll find out, then tell them first. But what this group of women sitting over here can do is connect you to our New Voices family, which has 28,000 Black-owned businesses. All they do is communicate with each other about how to take the right lefts and turns from an entrepreneurial perspective. They can give you some technical advice financially with advisors and investors. I'm telling you, for you, the only reason I tell people things that I may not want to tell them is I'm afraid they're going to find out on their own, and I want to be on the right strategic foot. If I wouldn't care if they found out, then I'd keep my energy on my purpose and deal with it when it comes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And they'll get your number.
And I know a lot of you have to get back to class, so let's keep the questions as short as we can so we can get through as many as possible.
Hi, Caroline.
Hi.
I'm Ava. I'm not sure if you remember me from March.
Yes.
But I'm so thankful that you're here today to instill confidence and hope in everyone. And I just wanted to ask you, with all the negative things that people were telling you and making you feel like you weren't enough, how did you break out of their projections and build your own self-esteem?
I don't have high self-esteem.
Mm.
So her question was, how did I build self-esteem based on when people say things? I say this very often. People ask me why I'm confident. I'm not confident. I don't have high self-esteem. I have a very vicious inner saboteur. I mean, she's ruthless. And she goes straight for the jugular every time. She knows exactly what language will debilitate me. She strikes at the exact right moment every time. She struck before I came up here, where she's like, what are you going to tell the women in Spelman? Yo behind went to college at 25 because you got pregnant. There she is. What makes you worthy to tell them anything? And that may sound like, why would you listen to that? But y'all listen to your inner saboteur. I'm human too. So I'm not a confident person. I don't have high self-esteem. What you are experiencing is courage in spite of. Why do I have courage in spite of? Because of what I told you about what my purpose is in the world. And so for me to sit up here and talk to folks like you who need to hear some part of my story to fulfill theirs, I'm not projecting confidence. I'm demonstrating courage so that as my inner saboteur is in my ear right now, saying the things she knows will debilitate me, she keeps talking and I keep talking. And at some point, one of us outtalks the other. But I let her exist. But I study her. She's got 5 plays in her playbook. They're evil as hell. You ain't married, that's why you ain't married. You ain't qualified. She's ruthless. You're gonna get fired. What makes you think you can tell Black women what to do? You African, not US Black. She's ruthless. Ruthless. Why do you guys dress like it's Tool on a Tuesday? Can you just be normal? She's ugly, and her knife is sharp, and it's precise, and it hits every time. But because I know who she is, and I study when she tends to show up, like when I'm about to take a stage, and her language tends to be consistent, the strategic advantage I have is I know before I go up on stage as she hits. So guess what I do? Go silent for 5 minutes. If I can, I'll put in headphones and put on a song like Imagine Me by Kirk Franklin. I know when she hits, and I just try to turn my volume up louder. She talks, I go louder. She talks, I go louder. And what I've learned is I can talk longer than her. And so she eventually goes away until the next time she strikes. So I operate in this belief that, you know, she coming in 10 minutes. Because you're on Spelman's campus and you couldn't get it together, so you went to Little Texas College, you were supposed to go to Spelman. By the way, that's a true story. I was supposed to go to the elite Spelman and I didn't. So stepping on these hollow grounds was a trauma experience for me. However, I knew she was gonna strike because that's in her playbook when I went to college. So I just let her exist, let her talk. I know she can't talk as long as me, but I let her exist. And then when she goes away, I go back to doing what I do. You're not seeing confidence and high self-esteem. You're seeing courage and purpose. Because still coming to sit on the campus of Spelman College, regardless of the number of people that are disappointed because I didn't go here, is worth it because of what you got today. And what she'll never be able to do is speak louder than you to me. Study her. Learn her language. Look at her timing cycle. Mitigate her with other things, but you'll beat her. And then what you'll do is you will end up building the strongest relationship with your intuition. And that's how you survive love. Hopefully that was hopeful.
It was. Thank you.
You're welcome. I have a name, but has a cuss word in it, so I'm not going to say it in the chapel.
I'm going to ask you, because we are running really short on time, if anybody has a similar question to the one that's asked, just kind of raise your hand, say, yeah, ditto on that, so that we can really get through in the next 5 minutes.
I told y'all I
just
was
want to be
verbose.
respectful to people, everybody has to get to class, so.
All right. Hi, Miss Wanga.
How are you?
I'm
Call me
very good.
Caroline. Don't
Okay.
call me Miss One. Thank you.
It's Southern mannerisms. I'm sorry. Caroline, how are you?
I'm well.
My name is Chelsea. I'm 18 years old and a junior here at Spelman, majoring in political science.
18 as a junior.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna need you to say that with your back straight.
18 years old and a junior at the #1 HBCU.
Love that.
And the question that I have for you is, how do you balance ambition with living in and appreciating the present time?
Say that question for me again.
How do you balance ambition with living in and appreciating the present?
Sure, you want me to answer this one and then we do it after this?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
and what I'm gonna do is to take the next 4 together, and then she'll answer them all together.
because I'm verbose.
Because you got lots to say.
I'm verbose. Unfortunately, I'm not working on it. But so here's what I would offer you, love. My fuel is purpose. I don't have ambition. I have purpose. There's a North Star of how I'm supposed to exist in the world to democratize authenticity. That is what I wake up and look at every morning. That's why I say you have the unmitigated gall to believe in the future other people can see. It's not a group activity. I don't need supporters. I wake up every morning for that North Star, and anybody who is around me on what I do that day, that's the universe, is to connect them to whatever I'm supposed to be doing. I am not ambitious. I'm purposeful. It looks like ambition if your motivation is your own success. It becomes purpose when the success of others is what defines what makes it good. I'm motivated by purpose. And the minute my purpose isn't being affirmed, I will find the where my purpose is being affirmed. Ambition is about what people see. Purpose is about what's navigating you. That's the difference.
Hi, Caroline. My name
Hey.
is Chelsea Henry. I am a first-year student here at Spelman College, a psychology minor and political science major. And basically, because it relates back to Ava's question, which was, you said something about your self-saboteur and how you need to basically
You can
quiet her down. Oh, okay. How you need to quiet her down and make sure that you're talking more than her. So my question is, sometimes I have the same thing, like she be vicious, very vicious.
Ain't they though?
Yeah, real bad. But my question is, how do you know that saboteur is actually not logic? Like, how do you know that it's actually sabotage and it's not logic? So I'm not speaking Delulu to myself, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
I love that energy. It's a really simple answer. Saboteur never creates positive results.
Yeah.
Nothing good ever comes when the saboteur is involved. Logic produces results. Saboteur destroys results. But remember what I said, study it. If you study it, get to know it, you'll be able to tell the difference. You will not be able to combat it if you don't study it. My inner saboteur and like the fact that I didn't get something done and procrastination sound the same till I know the voice and tone of the saboteur. The saboteur never makes you feel good. They never make you think. They just make you think you're not good enough. Logic doesn't have that role. Study them both. You'll be able to tell the difference.
And I will take these next 3 together and we'll have the last round. So
So what was the list of people you said you asked, what am I best at? What am I the worst at?
that's 5.
yeah.
Okay.
5.
I'll repeat
Okay.
that after I get the other 2.
Black women are often socialized as only being worthy based on their accomplishments. How do you become more than your resume? How do you find who you are as more than your resume?
Got it.
Do you have any advice for finding where the right where is?
I can't understand you, love.
Do you have any advice for finding the right where, even if it hurts the people that are around you in the place that you need to leave?
It's muffled. Can you
Right, that one word.
eat the mic? Move it from the
word.
She was shorter. Lift it up.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Sorry. Okay. Do you have any advice about finding the right where, even if it hurts people that are around you in the place that you need to leave?
Something's
The
wrong.
right what? What's
The right where?
Finding the right where.
Yes.
See, now y'all know I'm not
Okay.
Gen Z with the way I heard. Okay. How do you find the right where?
Yeah, even if it
Got
hurts
it.
people around
So
you.
the 5 points.
Yep.
You got it.
So the 5 groups of people that you should ask the question. Somebody who hates you, who really hates you. You know who they are. Don't act. 2, somebody you work with, like at work, because you're trying to get people that know you differently. 3, somebody that you're in some sort of intimate relationship with. It could be a spouse, it could be a partner, it could be a best friend, right? But somebody that sits in that place. 3, somebody that has a biological relationship to you, parent, sibling, something. They've known you since you were little people. And then the last one is somebody who thinks you're great no matter what you do. So if your feelings get hurt in the other 4, somebody's just gonna tell you good because it's there. You could be your grandma, it could be your godmother, whatever. Those are the 5 groups. Ask them all the same question. The next question was, it wasn't the where question. What was the one in the middle?
How do you find who you are beyond your resume?
Because the resume is not your definition of success. Stop starting with resume. Resume is, what do I want people to think I did for work? Nobody talks about their personal life on their resume. You get your address, your phone number, your email, and where you've worked and what you did when you were there, correct? Change the narrative. How do I want to be remembered when I die? If you make that how you define what you want to be true about you when you depart, you will stop chasing accomplishments and you will start to live the life that delivers what you want to be remembered for. Do you want to be known or noticed? Your resume gets you noticed. Your life gets you known. Don't chase accomplishments. Pursue purpose. Accomplishments will come. I have no goals in life except to move to Bora Bora, but that's introversion. I have no accomplishment goals. I do have what I want to be remembered for when I die, which is I was a living, breathing example of the democratization of authenticity, even in when it was a threat to my existence. And because of that, I've never pursued a thing. What I have pursued is a life. Does that help? Be known, not noticed. Your resume is only part of who you are. What do you want your obituary to say?
And the where.
The where. Here's how you find the where. You'll know when you get there. I'm not being facetious. Have you ever walked into a room ever in your life? How did you know you belonged in that room? Say it, huh? It felt right. So why you ask me a question you already know? So when I became CEO, I asked the CEO of Target to tell me what it takes to be a CEO because I didn't know what it was and I thought I was just gonna mess it up. Still do on a daily basis sometimes. And I said, who advises the CEO? Like, who are your confidants? Do you make like a little, I watch too much Scandal. Do you have like this little like circle of people that know secret tricks and have top secret clearance and they tell you all these things and magically you show up? He goes, nope. Every single person you encountered before you became CEO will stop talking to you when you become one. Nobody will give you all the information. Everybody will talk about you behind your back. 9 times out of 10, you did it in your evil. Nobody likes you. Everything about becoming a CEO means nobody gives you information. Nobody's accurate. Everybody's afraid of you. Nobody wants to tell you nothing. So his advice to me was, your advisor in a seat like this, and I would say this to Black women as the CEOs of home, culture, and community, your closest advisor is your intuition. You will have to decide based on what you know. So when you ask me, how do you find your where? And when I ask you, how do you know when you walk into a room? You know it's the right room because it feels like it. I can assume you know it's not the right room because it doesn't feel like it. You're already equipped. You were asking me a question you already know the answer to. The problem, though, the reason you ask me the question is because you don't trust it when you just feel it. We're trained to feel like it has to have something else with it. Yeah, it feels this way, but I'm supposed to be a Spelman. Why would I not be a Spelman? I can't say I'm not supposed to be a Spelman. I don't feel like it. The fear of the fact that others may think you're supposed to be in that room when you don't feel like you should be is part of what drives you to try to see if maybe you're wrong. Flip the script. You're usually right first. Go with your first. Understand your intuition in the very same way that you can feel. If you walk into a room, you'll be able to feel when you're not in the right room. And when you're not in the right room, get out fast. Don't waste your time. When you're in the right room, be selfish and gluttonous and take it all in. The universe affirms that which is right. I've been kicked out of rooms by the universe. He happened to be somebody I dated for 10 years who wasn't good for me, but that's another story. Make sense? All right.
Woo, well, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Thank Team Essence and guests and friends. Thank y'all. Go change the world so I can move to Bora Bora.
It is clear we could have gone on for another hour.
I'm sorry.
Thank you for the generosity
Madam
of your
President.
time.
Thank
This
you.
was fabulous.
Thank you for
Thank
the
you
invitation.
for a great
Hopefully it's
conversation.
helpful, y'all. Do one thing with what you heard today. Have a good day.
Miss Caroline, thank you for sharing with us today. Would you mind coming with me to the podium? So on behalf of Spelman College, I would like to present to you with a token of our appreciation. Here you go.
Tokens. This is cute. Is it one of them trench coats? No. Okay.
It sure is in the bookstore.
Noted.
Also, oh, we're taking a picture.
Oh, you didn't know? Oh, my bad. Thank you.
There we go.
Thank you so much.
Of course. And also, after we sing the hymn, please be sure to get your copy of the latest issue of Essence magazine.
Collector's edition. Oprah name on the cover.
Courtesy of Essence Ventures and Miss Caroline in the back of the chapel. Team Essence.
Thank you.
Of course. Okay.
Y'all doing the hymn? I don't know the hymn, but I'm gonna mouth my words.
Please stand.